Got it.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Gary. Welcome to PIZAZZ News in 2023. It,
Thank you.
it is God focused in a Christian context, as I've been saying. I'm exploring that, and with my interviews and being and we were just talking before, and and here's Spotty, of course, to say hello. He's just chewing on my fingers. um, that you've just come from a reading yourself. You were just at church.
I was at church earlier today.
Yep, and you've already got everything there ready to go. You've got a verse and everything, and a
Yeah.
point of discussion. I'm happy.
And it's really the Cain and Abel story,
Okay.
which I don't know how familiar people are with it,
Yeah.
but
Maybe.
the brothers of Adam and Eve's children. And we were just saying how it so does relate to life, because we have the one brother being jealous of the other. It's sibling rivalry. I mean, that's as old as Cain and Abel.
I love that. We've got to use that term any time we come across a bit of confusion. Oh, Gary, that's just as old as Cain and Abel.
And what does that really come from? That really comes from, the fact that one feels lesser than the other, or one feels more than the other. It doesn't really matter how it works. And therein ensues the ego jealousy, which more and more these days I see the ego as the devil.
Yeah.
That is the devil, period. End of
Yes.
quotation. I mean, we can go into a discussion about the specifics, but anything that takes us off our center is really the devil.
Yes. I'm of the same view as you are, and that thought started occurring to me more and more last year. That
Mm-hmm.
the more I thought about it, the more I started researching, the more I started looking at it, like the very essence of it all is just a hate, an evil, a and I mean, I used to attach terms such as like bad energy, bad vibes,
Right, right.
but I organically um I came to the point, a deeper understanding that it is the work of the devil. It is absolutely intentional, and it is meant to destroy us. And as you know, the devil is real. That's the thing. And when people don't believe that the devil is real, that just increases the devil's power in this world more and more.
That's exactly right. All you had to do is look at the Emmys in the States the other night. You know,
I didn't see it. What happened?
it was demonic. It was totally demonic. It was done in the most obviously demonic way, and it was poor artistically, very poor.
Okay, I didn't even see it. I
Yeah,
But it's almost like the devil has become a character. I mean, we see the devil. Our Western society sees the devil as a caricature, as a character that's hilarious and but so ingrained in everything,
right.
ingrained. With children, even it's like, oh, the devil, and but we don't see God. In fact, God is very, very uncool now. It's so uncool to be a believer
Right.
in God.
And, we have to remember that a lot of the woke world who wants to be on top of everything and in on everything and advanced on everything is really a lot of demonic. They want to become better than God. They want to show off who they are. And again, that's ego. Ego is always going back to demonic. You're always, whenever there's a imbalance, and the ego is way out of balance, it's demonic. And that's Cain and Abel. Cain got very hurt and jealous because God favored Abel over what Abel did over what Cain did. And that is the turning away.
Yeah. It's do you want to tell the story in basic terms of so Cain and Abel were, so Adam and Eve were the first humans that God created.
First humans, right?
And then the children
had relations, produced Cain as the first child, and then Abel as the second child.
Yep.
Cain became a tiller of the soil, which is interesting. Tiller of the soil, and look at the similarity to the word soul, right? Soil,
and
soul, where you plant, where something's implanted, right?
Yeah.
And then Abel was a keeper of the flocks. And remember, keeper of the flocks is the Lord, the shepherd.
The shepherd, yeah.
The good shepherd that takes care of the flocks.
Yeah.
Right. It's right there, really, at the beginning of the story. And they made offerings. Cain made an offering and Abel made an offering. Abel gave his finest and Cain gave mediocre. And the Lord didn't really get angry, but just didn't make a fuss over it as he did with Abel's. And we know that is a typical sibling rivalry issue. And then God said, why are you so resentful and crestfallen? If you do well, this is the quote, if you do well, you can hold up your head. But if not, sin is a demon lurking at the door. His urge is toward you. Yet you can be his master. So basically, it's right there that we can always master our ego, evil, the devil, which really, when you think about it, are all really one and the same thing. We can always master them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, if we let it get a hold of us, we become disempowered. And that's how people do murder, harm, all of those kinds of things. I mean, that's where it comes from.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Well, I just learned.
Like it?
This is so fabulous. Now I know where this originated. Like the source of that.
The source.
The source.
Right.
And
remember, it's early. It's in Genesis. It's right at the beginning of the Bible. It's not that far into it.
When you think about it, because it's like, well, that helps explain, fill in the gap of where did this all like start from? You know, where did it all like start from? And it makes sense. Cain and Abel.
Oh, totally. And we've all been there at some point in some form of that. So we can all really, in a sense, relate to it. There isn't a child alive who has been in some way turned away or neglected by someone within the structure of the family. It doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and even if you didn't have siblings, like the fact that you're a child and you can see how other children are being treated.
That's right.
Whether it's family or a home that you grew up in or moved around in foster homes, and even the school system, you can see the teacher. Let's say the teacher is representing a god in just this an analogy. You can see how a teacher favors certain students.
That's right. That's right, and not others.
Yeah, and the worst of it is we see some kids who take it out on those students that are favored, teachers' pets, and that's where they can really bully them and throw stones at them and really hurt them because it's the evil has grown, the hate, the ego, why am I not getting special attention?
Right.
Why am I not recognized for my
Right.
finger painting of a bird or whatever?
Right.
It's and then that just can, you know, if people keep harboring that idea
Yes.
that I'm not loved enough, that why aren't I loved enough, then that makes them very hateful people. It makes them, and I've noticed that I've actually thought about it a lot in like my relationships with people, and it's, I think it's easy for all of us to like people who are kind to us. So easy.
Oh, so easy.
So easy. It's a no-brainer. It's just,
Yep.
there's nothing really there to pick fault at. And even if we don't like them personally or don't like the way they look or whatever, we can at least, it's the kindness. But of course, humans take something like kindness if they don't have a look or an appeal or a talent, for example, and think that they can just be kind or nice and get favors. But it doesn't work that way. I mean, you know that.
Well, we got to remember people trade and they want, you know, it's when you do something well out of your own self, your own spiritual self, like Abel bringing the finest of the flock, and then Cain bringing not so good of his, you know, his produce, what he produced. You know what I mean? So Abel did that out of his own spirit soul, and Cain is, which is a little on the stingier side. And even though God didn't really reprimand him, all God said is, why are you so resentful and crestfallen? If you do well, you can hold up your head. And really, back to the kids in school, the only reason the teacher favors certain is because they really do their part. They really participate. And then there are those that don't, or are antagonistic or avoid, you know, because they're fearful. So it really does make a lot of sense when you think about it. And the big line is he kills him, right? So Cain attacks his brother and kills him. And then the Lord calls to him and says, where is your brother Abel? He answered, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?
Am I my brother's
keeper?
Yeah.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Yeah.
And the answer is really yes, you are. You are both keeping each other in balance. But Cain didn't do that. He killed Abel, killed the greater part of what Cain wanted to have in himself. He killed. So all hatred can do is destroy. That's all it's really capable of doing. It divides, destroys, separates. And love is the grow. And as a matter of fact, as it was said there, he was the tiller of the soil. And the soil is the representation of the love, which produce food. So he was given that job, and he wasn't a very good tiller of the soil or the soul. Whereas Abel was a good watcher of the flocks, and he was a good master for the flocks. So that was the love aspect. And that's really what God's showing. Am I my brother's keeper? Is really in reference to the fact that we are all watchers of each other. If we see somebody about to go down the wrong road, it's our duty really to try to stop them. Whether we can or not, it can never say. But that's, you know, it's
but stopping them with love.
Stopping them with love.
Stopping
That's
them
right.
with love, not with righteousness. And this is
No.
and this is something which turns a lot of people off God, church, Bible, religion. any
Because
form of,
that's righteousness.
yeah,
Yes.
the righteousness of, it's that these people think that they're better than me. It's
Yes.
ego. And maybe it is. There are a lot of people in everywhere. It's in us, the ego. It's already in us.
Right. Remember, and the devil always wants to take charge.
Yeah, the devil wants to take charge of our ego and say, oh, look, it's like now that I've outed myself as a Christian, and we talked about Christianity like between us years ago, that
Yeah.
it's not groovy and people don't like it. And that's why I think a lot of people are believers. They're true believers of God. They do believe, they understand, but they also feel that they're not going to be able to reach out to people because people are so against religion, so against God, so against the Bible.
Right.
Because they can point to all these people that claim to be Christians and anything but, claim to be good and anything but, claim to be in love, but where are they? How can
Right.
you say I love you to someone if it means nothing? And so when we have those experiences and when we see that in our own lives, we think it's just hogwash, it's crap, it's not real. You can't trust people. People are not trustworthy, and we blame the others because it's our ego. It's coming from we justify our judgment about
Yes.
others because they've judged us.
Correct.
And what does it achieve, Gary?
Same what we started with, hatred, contempt. That's it.
Hatred and contempt. It achieves nothing. It's so purposeless. And
Yes.
I for a long time now, I can just no longer. It's like I've really come to a point in my life where I can just really, it's a great big. It takes so much out of me to engage in purposeless, meaningless communications with people.
Communication. Yes. Yeah.
It's a lot of talk, a lot
Yeah.
of babble.
But we have to remember that it's like baby talk. That's where they're at. That you and it's like a 2-year-old. You can only go so far. You can only get so far, and that's how some people are in their spirit selves as well. They haven't advanced very far. So I always see it as just like with people's ages, they're at different places, and some are more keyed, and some it's a I don't even like to use the word keyed, but they're just more, their energy is going in a very different direction. And some are easier and some are not, just like a 2-year-old. Some are easier, some are not, you know. And then it's about what we use in our love and compassion to work with it, work with the energy.